What's going on, everybody? Another striking video for you guys. Today, let's talk about how to make that lead hook explosive. Now, I'm going to work with my left hand. This is one of my bread and butter punches, one of my biggest strikes, and actually, I have to say it's the most powerful strike in my arsenal. So I want to give you guys a couple of tips that I've used to develop my lead hook over the time of my training, and hopefully let you guys get some of that explosive power in your daily training or competition. So let's talk about that lead hook. That's going to be in most boxing terminology, my number 3. My hook is coming around and I want to orient my hand, my elbow, my shoulder roughly on the same line here. Okay, so when we talk about the hook, it's mainly a rotational strike. Kind of like a roundhouse done with my hands. So what I want to make sure that I'm doing here, if I want a big hook, I want to be able to sit my weight down. That's probably the first thing that we try to accomplish. A lot of the hooks up here are more glancing, maybe it's more of a gazelle hook, but we want to be down here where we're looking for power. Okay? Specifically, I want to learn how to sit my weight down into my left hip. So a lot of the times, the way that I would teach that to my students here is I would have them throw a cross beyond the bag. And so I'm not sure if you guys can see on the camera, but my hand is actually going past the bag. And what that is us forcing my body to twist over, push through my right hip into my left. And I'm sitting down on all that weight right now. Okay, so when I have that weight here, I want to make sure that when I rotate, I'm going to make sure that I'm aiming with my elbow and I'm using that kind of motion to connect with my lat. And the lat is going to be the big powerhouse here when I throw the strike to be able to lock in and transfer all of that power through the target. A big thing people don't talk about when you throw the hook, okay? Yes, the weight does have to be a little bit more loaded onto this left hip here, but we have to make sure that we have good balance on the way back. Okay, remember, we're focusing on rotation. So the rotation is no good if I'm over here and I have no balance coming back. All that weight is going to be lost. All that power generation is going to be gone. So we want to make sure that we're sitting down on it, rotate, and we're pretty much opening that back hip again. Okay? So rotate, rotate, okay? Right? So that's tip number 1. Now, tip number 2 is probably my most important tip, to be honest. Once you start getting that lead hook down, you want to make sure that you are using a full body rotation. Okay? So when I throw any punch, it is delivered with one hand, but it is powered by my entire body. So let's break down that mechanic. You see the big shot coming from the left, rotating around here. But what a lot of people don't feel, and this is also going to help with the end of tip number 1, that balance factor. I'm pulling my right hand back and I'm tightening up my right shoulder. I'm flexing my other lat. And I'm focusing just as much as pulling my rear side as rotating out my lead side. That way I get 2 sides working into it, good stability, good posture, but I get double the power. Okay? So as you're throwing your hook, think about pulling that hand back. Okay? If not just with a hook, it's great posture, it's great position to load up for another shot, because now that the hip is open, my lat's nice and engaged here, you can throw another one. And that's where you start seeing things like 3-2-3 or cross hook cross, because you're constantly loading and reloading the hip in good positioning. Okay? And the last one here, this kind of helps a little bit more with explosiveness. So the difference between explosiveness and power, power is going to be the actual impact, the amount of power that's delivered into the target. The explosiveness is how fast can I get that off, right? So the lead hook is one of my best shots because it's also closest to them, so it is fast. And what I do is, when we go for that hook, don't imagine going through the bag, hit the bag, and come back to your shoulder. Okay, a lot of times when I teach my students this for the first time, I'm introducing them to Kuntao or kickboxing for the first time. I say, imagine you're gathering all the poker chips on the table and pulling it into you here. Okay? So, when I smack this bag here, I'm going to pull my shoulder back, but I'm also going to make sure my left hand comes back into my body. That allows you to reload and fire multiple hooks if you wanted to. And that's how you're going to get a nice powerful and explosive hook. All right, guys, so let me know if you have any other tips you want to add to that and make sure that our community gets that super strong left hook and starts knocking people out. But definitely don't knock out your sparring partners. Okay, take care of your sparring partners, take care of each other, keep training hard. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if it helped you in your training. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Stay tuned for more content, and catch you guys in the next one.